The 5 words sounded like the low groan of a devil. It also sounded like a distant sound that came from beyond the heavens, or the low, silent hum of a bottomless abyss. When the voice descended, the sinister, devilish figure in Yun Chi's eyes slowly disappeared, and reappeared in the dreamless divine regent's eyes instead. Nirvana, devil, emperor, soul, Li Suo whispered in a daze as Yun Chi's soul sea slowly cleared up. She recalled the moment where Kai Waiao, the one they called the Devil Queen, injected a whopping 80% of her Nirvana Devil Emperor soul into Yun Chi's soul before he jumped into the abyss of nothingness. Yun Chi did not possess the ability to pilot the Nirvana Devil Emperor soul. He could not even activate of his own accord. However, it was cut away and transferred to you by my own will, so it will not give you any trouble whatsoever until you trigger it. What will happen when I trigger it? It will be like a devil god who is startled awake from its slumber. It may be the Nirvana Devil Emperor's final show of rage in this world. As Kai Waiao's old words flashed through her mind, Li Suo finally understood what Yun Chi was plotting. The heart painter Divine Regent, who was rumored to love his daughter like his own life. The engagement between the Heaven Breaker Divine Daughter and Boundless Divine Son. The Dreamweaver Kingdom of God, where its profound practitioners mainly cultivated soul energy and possessed the ability called Falling Dream. The 3 divine regents who were best friends, considering all the above factors, his reunion with Hua Kali in the endless fog, and his soul searching for Meng Jianzhu. It was only now that Li Suo realized that Yun Chi had been plotting this exact moment since that day. When she saw the pitch-black devilish silhouette appearing in Meng Kongqin's eyes, she knew that Yun Chi had succeeded. Although a few wisps of Nirvana Devil Emperor soul were practically nothing compared to a complete true God soul, it was still the soul of a Devil Emperor. Even in the ancient era of the gods, a Devil Emperor's soul was the highest soul in the universe, and an entire great plane greater than a true God's soul. Moreover, this wasn't a head-on fight between 2 souls. This was the dreamless Divine Regent in full control until the point where he suddenly bore the full brunt of a Devil Emperor's furious rebound. To say that he wasn't expecting it would be an understatement. A silver needle could never destroy a piece of rotten wood spanning over hundreds of thousands of kilometers, but it could certainly leave a permanent mark on the rotten wood. The rage of a Devil Emperor could shake the soul of all devils. Meng Kongqin's facial features began shaking. The devilish silhouette in his eyes warped at a rapid rate before fading into nothing bit by bit. Its furious cry was growing increasingly distant as well. When the devilish silhouette completely disappeared, so did this wisp of Nirvana Devil Emperor soul. With this, the wisp in Kai Waiao's body was truly the final soul wisp of the Nirvana Devil Emperor in the entire universe. In exchange, Yun Chi was able to leave an eternal imprint of darkness in the dreamless Divine Regent's soul. After the devilish silhouette was gone, the black light covering Meng Kongqin's eyes gradually disappeared as well. Right now, the man was staring fixedly at Yun Chi with shaking eyes, trembling lips, and chaotic aura. He looked nothing like the absolute, cold, dignified ruler he was before. This level of loss of control should never have appeared on a Divine Regent. Yuener, you're Yuener, you're Yuener. He stammered, each word shaking like a leaf being ravaged by a storm. A glimmer of astonishment flashed in Yun Chi's eyes. Meng Kongqin's reaction was far, far greater than he initially anticipated. Clearly, he had underestimated the weight of Meng Jianyuan in the dreamless Divine Regent's heart. Yun Chi chose this moment to look up, eyes overflowing with the befuddlement of someone who just awoke from a deep slumber. What did you just say, dreamless Divine Regent? What Yuener? Meng Kongqin leaped off his throne. It was a simple movement no profound practitioner should fumble with, much less the dreamless Divine Regent himself. However, the man actually stumbled as he rose from his throne. He did not bother to adjust his balance, however. He staggered over to Yun Chi before grabbing his arm with both hands, eyes glued to Yun Chi's face like his life depended on it. Yuener, you're alive, you're still alive. The dreamless Divine Regent suddenly realized that he was crushing Yun Chi's arm and hurriedly withdrew his strength. Even so, he refused to let go. As soon as he finished, Yun Chi saw a glint of wetness in the man's trembling eyes. Yun Chi leaned away from the dreamless Divine Regent a little while wearing a look of complete shock and uncertainty. I am Yun Chi, dreamless Divine Regent. I am not this Yuener you speak of. Please. No, you are Yuener, the Yuener I have lost for over a century. Meng Kongqin's agitation and tears were only growing with every word he spoke. Back then, it was my failure that led to your disappearance. 100 years, to think it has been 100 years since you were gone, but I have never given up on finding you. Thank the heavens that you're still alive. Thank the heavens that you've finally returned to my side to think you've become a grown man and are doing so well. His words were somewhat incoherent and growing raspier by the second. He was practically sobbing at the end. Yun-Chi slowly shook his head. I'm sorry, I really don't know what you're talking about, dreamless divine regent. It was at this moment a hasty shout erupted from outside the palace. What happened, father? Meng Kongqin's aura was out of control, and his voice even more so. Meng Jiangxi was residing in the nearby divine palace, so he was alarmed as a matter of course. When he rushed into the building, though, he skidded to a stop. He could hardly believe what he was seeing. His body was shaking, and his eyes were filled with tears. This was the second time in his life that he saw his father acting this way. The first time was when Meng Jianyuan disappeared 100 years ago. The tall, sharp-eyed youngster who was following behind Meng Jiangxi was wearing the same shocked expression as well. Meng Kongqin turned to look at Meng Jiangxi, the agitation in his voice not decreasing in the slightest despite their presences. Jiangxi Jians, Yuaner came home. He finally came home. This is Yuaner. Meng Jiangxi looked at Yun-Chi with unbridled shock. Meng Jian's eyes widened like saucers as well. He stared at Yun-Chi and asked disbelievingly, which Yuaner? Meng Jiangxi chose this moment to step forward and exclaim in an excited voice, is he, Brother Yuan? That's right. That's right. It was only now that Meng Kongqin finally managed to recollect himself a little. He sucked in a deep breath and reined in his aura and emotions as best he could. Yuaner didn't die. In fact, he came back safe and sound. Meng Jiangxi, this is... Meng Jians looked back and forth between Yun-Chi and Meng Jiangxi. He had no idea how he should react right now. Yun-Chi turned away and replied evenly, Greetings, Dreamweaver Divine Son. This one is Chi of Yun. As per the Heart Painter Divine Regent's order, I have come to visit the Dreamless Divine Regent. I am no Yuaner. The Dreamless Divine Regent must be mistaken. It's no mistake. Meng Kongqin never let go of Yun-Chi. It was as if he was afraid that his beloved son would disappear from the world as soon as he relinquished his grip. Tell me, Yuaner, how old are you? Are you 120 years old one right now? I am, Yun-Chi nodded. Meng Kongqin continued. The Heart Painter Divine Regent told me that you were rescued when you were around 10 years old. After you awakened, you completely lost your memories from before you were 10. Is that true? That is true, Yun-Chi nodded again. Letter 1D65B, letter 1D493, letter 1D486, letter 1D65A, letter 1D498, letter 1D486. Letter 1D484, letter 1D490, letter 1D4F6. Meng Kongqin's grip tightened slightly as he stared into Yun-Chi's eyes. My Yuaner went missing about 100 years ago. He vanished without a trace when he was 10. The time and age all match, he continued. You must have lost your memories because you suffered soul damage from whoever ambushed you back then. Meng Jianyuan was your name before you were 10, the name I gave you personally. Yun-Chi paused for a moment, but he still shook his head. The time and age could just be a coincidence. You can't possibly decide that I am Meng Jianyuan just based on that. Meng Kongqin's eyes grew even wetter. They had never left Yun-Chi besides the moment Meng Jiangxi and Meng Jians had rushed into the divine palace. I am Meng Kongqin, divine regent of the Dreamweaver Kingdom of God. My soul may crumble, and my cognition may suffer irreparable damage, and I still wouldn't fail to recognize my own son. Your soul, your aura, your flesh and blood, how could I mistake you for someone else? How could I mistake you for anyone else? This is... Meng Jians turned to look at Meng Jiangxi and found his eyes to be red with tears. Meng Jiangxi exclaimed with clear agitation, I can't believe it, it's practically a miracle. What a wonderful day this is turning out to be. As he spoke, he strode up to Yun-Chi and put a hand on Yun-Chi's shoulder. Welcome home, Brother Yuan. Do you have any idea how much Father has missed you? He thinks of you day and night, and he has never extracted himself from the quagmire of guilt and regret. He never stopped searching for you even though 100 years have passed. Your safe return isn't just an occasion worth celebrating by the entire Dreamweaver Kingdom of God. You have saved Father as well. The excitement and sentimentality in his eyes were no less great than Meng Kongqin's. Ha 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 ha! Meng Kongqin laughed heartily. That's right, there is nothing more deserving of celebration than this. I must announce to the entire realm, no, the entire abyss that my Yuaner has returned. Contrary to their unbridled excitement, Yun-Chi looked even more puzzled and lost than before. He stressed, dreamless divine regent, dreamweaver divine son, I don't want to let you down, but as I've already mentioned, this one is Chi of Yun. It's the name I received from my master, and it's the one I will carry for the rest of my life. I will never give it up no matter what. Today is the first time I have set foot in the Dreamweaver Kingdom of God, and as far as I am aware, I don't remember this place at all, much less the name Meng Jianyuan. Please see the truth and understand that I am Yun Chi, not Meng Jianyuan. How dare you? Before Meng Kongchen could answer, a sharp rebuke came from a stern-faced Meng Jians. Who do you think father is? There is no way he could mistake his own son. Today is the first day you return after a whole century, and you dare question and contradict him already. You! The sound of Meng Jian's teeth and cheekbones cracking resounded throughout the hall. Sticky red blood sprayed out of his mouth as he was flung toward the wall on the far end. What an idiot, Meng Jiangxi thought to himself. When Meng Jians climbed back to his feet in a hurry, the first thing he saw was his father's eyes. Those violent, dark, murderous eyes that looked like they wanted to rip him apart limb from limb. Such were Meng Kongchen's eyes that his knees turned limp before he could stand, and infinite fear threatened to split his own eyes in half. Yuaner has just returned from his tribulation, and I don't even know how to compensate him for all the things he must have suffered for the past 100 years. And you dare to rebuke my Yuaner? The rage of a divine regent was like the collapse of heaven itself. Meng Jians was one of Meng Kongchen's most outstanding sons. That was also why he had never seen such a look from his father. Terrified, he immediately prostrated himself and stammered, This child would not dare. This child was just, get out. Yes, yes. Meng Jians crawled out of the hall in reverse before fleeing in panic. When Meng Kongchen's gaze returned to Yun Chi, the storm of violence immediately melted to gentleness once more. That's fine. Your master saved your life. He isn't just your benefactor, but my and the entire Dreamweaver Kingdom of God's benefactor. Since you've lost your memories, it is only natural that you wouldn't be able to accept your old identity or this old man. It must feel like all this has sprung up out of nowhere, right? Yes, it's only natural. So, if you really call yourself Yun Chi, then go ahead. If one day you recall your old name, or if you are willing to accept this father, then you can consider picking up your old name again. All right. This wasn't just a compromise. It was almost as if he was currying favor with Yun Chi. Meng Jiangxi advised. Father, I know that you harbor great regrets for brother Yuan, and you only wish you can give him the world to make up for everything that happened to him. However, brother Yuan is your son. For a divine regent's son to go by a different surname, that's going to generate some criticism. Ha ha! Meng Kongchen's only response was an uncaring chuckle. Yuaner came back to me safe and sound. This is already a miracle I dare not dream of, so how can I possibly ask for more? As long as Yuaner is safe, then I am more than glad to fulfill his desires. Yun Chi did his best to suppress the confusion on his face and said respectfully, Words cannot describe how overwhelmed I am to receive such favor from you, dreamless divine regent. It's just, I really am too overwhelmed right now. I truly do not know how to act or respond right now. From the start until now, Yun Chi was clearly unwilling to address Meng Kongchen as father or accept his true identity. Meng Kongchen was disappointed as a matter of course, but he did not hesitate to console Yun Chi. It's fine, it's fine. I'm the one who's being too hasty here. Please don't let my attitude pressure you, okay? I promise that I will find a way to restore your memories. Until then, you may be whoever you want to be. I promise that I won't pressure you one bit. Yun Chi bowed deeply. Thank you, dreamless divine. Cut it out. You and I are father and son. Such pleasantries are unnecessary, no? Meng Kongchen stopped Yun Chi's salute while looking him up and down. The more he saw, the happier he became. Heavens, you are so much more handsome than I was as an adult. Your mother would be overjoyed if she could see you right now. Now I understand why that girl. Meng Kongchen suddenly cut himself off and looked at Meng Jiangxi. Jiangxi, announce to the entire realm that Yuaner has safely returned to the Dreamweaver Kingdom of God. I want 5,000 first-class abyssal crystals to be added to each great dream hall. The Dream Prayer Immortal Region to be open to all disciples above Divine Sovereign Realm for 3 months. The sentences of all criminals in the Sin region to be reduced by 100 years. And all offering to be lifted from all vassal regions for 100 years. Do it quickly. Meng Jiangxi forced down his shock and respectfully left to carry out his orders. Meng Kongchen then pulled Yun Chi and said, Come, Yuaner. We are leaving for a place that belongs only to you. The second Meng Jiangxi left the Dreamweaver Divine Palace, his expression abruptly darkened like a storm. However, it gradually subsided as he walked. It wasn't long before Meng Jians rushed out from the corner and fell in behind Meng Jiangxi. Right now, his silver robe was covered in blood, and one side of his face was completely swollen. He looked terrible. Even now there was lingering shock and fear on his face. "Your Highness, is that boy really Meng Jianyuan, the one who should have died long ago?" Every time Meng Jian said a word, his broken teeth would hurt him to the core. "Do you think father would make a mistake on something like this?" Meng Jiangxi replied indifferently. "It's been 100 years. Anyone would think that his killer had wiped him out without a trace. To think that he's still alive, he is quite the fortunate man." Meng Jians watched Meng Jiangxi's expression for a moment before asking carefully, "Your Highness, aren't you worried?" "Worried? What for?" Meng Jiangxi retorted. "He is the previous divine son," Meng Jian said darkly. "It's one thing if he is dead, but he is alive. That means he is a potential threat to your status." "Threat?" Meng Jiangxi chuckled. "In terms of cultivation, he does not possess the resources of a kingdom of God. He did become a level 3 divine master in 120 years, and in most parts of the world, he would be a bona fide genius. But compared to me, he is nothing at all. As for familiarity and control over the Dreamweaver kingdom of God, merits, and the loyalty of his subjects, we aren't even in the same league. Even if we ignore all this and look at divine essence only, I am still a tad stronger than him. What on earth makes you think that he could pose a threat to me in any way?" "You are completely right, Your Highness, but I can't help but worry after father's earlier outburst." Meng Jians beseeched. "He only ever called us Jiangxi or Jians, but Meng Jianyuan. He only called him Yuaner. There is one thing you must never forget, Your Highness. It is true that divine essence is a critical factor in choosing a divine son, but the one and only person who gets to make the final decision is father." Meng Jiangxi's footsteps slowed for just an instant. "I'm sure you haven't forgotten how father reacted after Meng Jianyuan disappeared. Meng Jianyuan was just a baby who hadn't weaned off his mother's milk, and father had already made him the divine son. During the conferral ceremony, he only wished he could invite everyone under the heavens to attend and congratulate his son. He also started constructing Meng Jianyuan's divine palace from the beginning. Even after he went missing, he continued the construction until it was complete. In comparison, you still don't have a divine palace of your own." "Enough." Meng Jiangxi cut him off coldly. "Jianyuan and I are brothers. We should work together toward bettering the kingdom, not be at odds with each other. You will refrain from speaking such things from now on." "Your Highness!" But Meng Jians ignored his order and stressed, "My life and fate are bound to you, Your Highness. I would never, ever betray you. That is why you need to take me seriously. Have you already forgotten what happened to the former divine son of the Owl Butterfly Kingdom of God, Pan Bueng?" Meng Jians had chosen him as his lord a long time ago. When Meng Jiangxi became the divine regent, he too would rise in power. Therefore, Meng Jians was absolutely correct to say that his life and fate were bound to Meng Jiangxi. It was also why he was worried by Meng Jianyuan's return and Meng Kongqin's obvious bias toward him. He wasn't the only one who was worried after news of Meng Jianyuan's return spread throughout the Dreamweaver Kingdom of God.